Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting video. So in this video we are going to be sewing the already cut out trouser that we drafted. But before we start, do well to click on the subscribe button if you have not subscribed to our channel, so you'll be notified whenever we post educative videos like this. But before then, we'll have to slant our front waistline, all right? It's not supposed to be straight, so I just did that. Go down by ½ inch and slant it back to the waistline. Okay, after that, you will have to place your already cut out pattern paper on your fashion fabric and you just cut it out. Note that we are not adding any allowance to this fashion fabric because all the allowance we need to make this trouser has already been added on the pattern. All right, so if you don't understand, go back to the drafting video. All right guys, so the next thing is to put our front panel together and our back panel together and sew down the crouch area. Note that on the front crouch, you're not going to be sewing all. You sew like about 6 inches. The next thing we'll be doing is to prepare our front flap cover and our main flap. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. So I think I marked about 10 inches long and 2.5 inches for the wideness. So just follow exactly what I'm doing. After that guys, go ahead and cut it out. You also have to use the flap to cut out the flap cover. All right, so the flap cover and the main flap should be the same measurement lengthwise and how wide it is. All right, so like I did now, I just carried my main flap, placed on another fabric on fold. Please take note, is on fold because the flap cover is meant to be thicker than the main flap. All right, so unfold this way and you now cut it out. All right guys, thank you so much for watching this far. If you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly click on the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever we post tutorials like this. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to mark ½ inch on the crouch area this way on the wrong side of the trouser and you sew it together. So this is the back panel. I had to join it together so it will become one piece. So after that, you do the same for the front panel. It's just that on the front panel, you're not going to be sewing it all the way down. So remember, I'm starting from the bottom part, like I'm starting from the down part. But on the front panel, I measured out 6 inches because that's where I want my sewing to stop. Because remember, we are going to be putting our zipper, our flap cover and our main flap on the remaining part of the front panel. So this is what you're supposed to have after joining it to a particular point. Okay guys, so the next thing I did was to weave those parts that I joined together because I don't want this trouser to be looking rough. All right, because there are some things that after sewing, there are some parts you won't be able to weave, so I had to go ahead and use my interlocking machine to lock up all the rough edges before I will now put my zip and my flap. So do the same for the front and the back panel. Okay, yeah, I was done weaving and this is what it looks like. So we are now going to go ahead and iron our paper stay or whatever kind of stay you have on your flap cover and on your main flap. Then you go ahead to weave it all round. All right guys, so I went ahead to weave it and this is what it was looking like when I was done. So the next thing I'm trying to do here is to sew my main flap. So you mark ½ inch on one side of the trouser depending on where your flap is facing. Mark ½ inch, then you place your flap on that line. Make sure that the edges are lined and follow the ½ inch mark that you did on the fabric. Okay, then you sew it all the way down. So after doing that, this is what you are supposed to have. This is what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so after this we are going to be top stitching on our flap cover, not on the main trouser. So put it this way, make sure you push your sewing allowance towards the flap cover and you top stitch close to this former sewing line that you had. Just top stitch neatly. So after doing that, cut out your thread and mark 0.75 inches away from the previous line that you sewed. I don't know if you are understanding this because where we are actually marking, we are going to be placing our zipper. Right, this is the zip I had, so you can use any other zipper. Make sure it matches with the color of fabric you're working with. All right guys, so after that you're going to be placing your zip this way and you are going to be sewing on it. Make sure it is on the line that you marked. All right, just try and understand this video. You can watch it over and over again to get a better understanding, right? So you won't make a mistake. So this is what you should have after sewing your zip on your fabric. So the next thing we'll be doing is to sew this other part that was left open. Just see what I'm doing. Put it together, like make sure the edges align, all right? Then you sew it on the other part of zip, on the other part of the zip that was left open. Just make sure that the edges align. Very important, because this is one of the factors that will determine how neat your front trouser is going to look. So you don't want to be having it look all messed up and looking so rough. So just follow this process gently, right? If you notice, I was not rushing while I was sewing it. Sew it gently. All right guys, so this is what you should have after sewing that part. All right, so I went ahead to iron it down so it will come out neat. Ironing is very important when you are sewing, so always try to iron. It makes your work very neat. All right, so the next thing I did was to draw out this design. All right, just follow this design I'm drawing. Follow it, like use your own chalk to draw it out. If you notice, most trousers usually have that in front. Okay, so after that I went ahead to sew on that line that I drew with chalk. Okay, but this part is kind of technical, so you have to sew it gently and sew it should I say carefully, because if you are sewing with a manual machine, it's usually not that neat. Okay, because of the zipper on it. So after that guys, I went ahead to put my flap cover. So I was arranging here to fix my flap cover. So the flap cover, you are going to be sewing it on this other part. Please zoom in and watch. On this other part, you are going to sew on the tiny line, like the line that you use in closing the other part of the flap. I don't know if you are getting it. So if you are not understanding, you can drop your questions and your comments in the comment section. I'll try my best to respond to all your comments and all your questions. So this is what it should be looking like when you are done sewing it. So the next thing I did is to top stitch on this part, because this is the part that holds all the flaps together and covers the inner trouser. All right, so after that I went ahead to put my pockets, like mark out the part for pocket. So I did 3 inches wide and 6 inches deep. Like the length is 6 inches and the wideness is 3 inches. So you are going to be putting the two front panel together this way, and you will trim it out, like you use the other one that you had already cut out to cut out the second part. You know, it's already one piece because we've joined the front together. So this is it guys. So after that I went ahead to cut my pocket cover. So my pocket cover is 10 inches wide and 11 inches long, right? And you need 2 of it. So these were the 2 pieces that I already cut out, and this is how you are going to use it to trace out your pocket. Just follow what I'm doing. Just trace it out this way, and while cutting it, if you notice, I only cut out only one part. So you've cut out only one part, then you bring it out, place it back on the pockets this way, then you are going to be joining it with 1/2 inch. So before I went ahead to join it, I secured it down with a pin, so it's not going to be shifting while I'm sewing on it. So just do exactly like this. You know, I had to draw out the line that I'm going to be sewing on, because it's actually 1/2 inch and I'll be following that line. So go ahead and join yours with 1/2 inch. So after joining it, remove your pins, open it up, top stitch on it, then you go ahead to iron it. All right guys, so please pay attention to this. After ironing and pinning it down, this is how you are going to be closing your pocket. So you flip it to the other side and you will sew on it. I don't know if you are getting it. Flip it, then you sew on it. This is how you are closing it. Just watch what I'm doing. I flipped it and now sewed on it. That is how you are going to be securing the pocket. Like you close the down part of the pocket. After closing it, I went ahead to top stitch on it, but off camera. So try and follow exactly what I'm doing. And if you are not understanding, or if you have a question, please drop your question in the comment section. All right guys, so after doing that, push out your pocket inner, like bring it out this way. You can use a pointed object to push it out, push out those corners so that they will come out flat. You top stitch on it, then go ahead to iron it very neat so it will relax like I just did. And after that, you're going to be trimming out excess. Like I said, there will definitely be excess, so you trim it out, notch every corner that is not relaxed and iron on it. It will definitely relax. Okay, so after that, I went ahead to pin down the pocket and the trouser together. So I'll go ahead to sew on it, like secure the two of them together. So that is exactly what I'm showing you here. Secure the pocket and your trouser together, and after that you trim out the excess. Just follow what I'm doing in this video. After securing it this way, I went ahead to trim out the excess I had before removing my pins. Okay, so after that, the next thing is to put the both parts of the trouser together, like the two sides of the trouser, place them on each other. Make sure everything aligns, because what I did here, I was just trying to confirm if they are equal. If one part is bigger than one part, just know that you didn't do the right thing. So the next thing I did is to go ahead and join my crouch together. Like the down part, you make sure it aligns. That part that you joined the both panels together, you have to go ahead and still join them together. Like you join the front panel and the back panel together, making sure that that center line aligns with each other. I don't know if you understand. So how I usually join my own is from the center point, I will sew down to one side, then I will turn it over to the other side, then also start from the center, like the midpoint of that crouch, I will also sew it to the other part. So that's how I usually join mine. So you can still figure out how to join yours, but this is what has been working for me over the years now. Okay guys, so after that, this is what you are supposed to have. This is how it's supposed to look like. So the next thing I did is to arrange the trouser properly, the front and the back piece together, pin it down, make sure everywhere is equal, make sure the sides aligns, and I'm going to shape my trouser. So this is my own method of making pants, making trousers, making knickers, whatever that looks like trouser. This is how I sew mine. All right, and it has been working for me and it comes out perfectly. Just follow exactly what I'm doing in this video and you get it right. So the next thing I did was to mark out my center line and divide my waist round by 4, mark it on both sides, just the same way you shaping other outfits. All right, the next thing, I had to measure my hip line, divide my hip round measurements by 4 and mark it on both sides. Remember, when you're measuring your hip line, remember to remove your band. You have to subtract your band from your tape before measuring that hip line. So after that, I went ahead to use my curved ruler to draw out my curve, and I now use my hand to draw it all the way down, like the sewing allowance that we added. I just drew it, took it all the way down, and I did the same thing on both sides. So try and use a curve. If you don't have a curve, use your free hand anyway, but just make sure that the shape is shaping. Don't just draw a shape that looks like what I don't know. Just try and make it curvy, because every human hip is curvy, not too curvy anyway, depending on the body measurements you're working with. So here I went ahead to close my shape, like so on the line that I drew on the fabric. I just sewed all the way down, and I did the same for the other side. After that, I brought it out and I ironed it. I gave it a good press. Okay, so iron it properly. If you iron it well, it's going to look clean and the shape is going to come out, like your trouser is going to look very neat and very beautiful. Okay, so here I was done sewing it. I had to turn it out to the right part, and I was arranging it, checking out if there are errors. I had to trim out the thread. So just follow the same thing. So if you've watched this far, thank you so much. We'll now go ahead and cut out our band. So our band is 6 inches wide and as long as the waist round measurement you are working with. So don't cut exactly the waist round measurement. Measure the already sewn trouser, like measure your waist round on the trouser, because of the flap that we added, there's going to be should I say extra. So after that, you use it to cut out your band, and your band should be on fold. So after doing that, I went ahead to sew my band to my trouser. I went ahead to attach the band to the trouser. Okay guys, so after sewing your band to the trouser, this is what you should have. Okay, if you are following this video, this is exactly what you should have after attaching your band and your trouser together. So after that, I went ahead to put it together like this, because the end part is supposed to be closed. This method I'm using to put my band and my trouser together, the end of the bands, the both end of the band is supposed to be closed. So I don't know if you are getting it, but just pay attention, you will get it. It's supposed to look like this, like it's supposed to have a closed edge, like the end part is supposed to be closed and it's supposed to look this way. So after closing it, use something that is pointed and push it out. So I went ahead to close the second part, as you can see in this video. So after closing the edges, trim out the excess and push out the edge, like the pointed parts. Use something, a pointed object, and push them out. Then after that, you are now going to top stitch on it. Like you are now going to close the outer part. Just follow what I am doing. You now top stitch on your band, folding in 1/2 inch while you are sewing on it. Okay, and this part is should I say a little bit difficult? Not really difficult, but if your band was not straight, you are going to be having excess. So you just have to be careful while doing this. And remember, you are top stitching on top, so your sewing has to be neat, right? It's meant to be a professional way of sewing trousers, so your sewing has to be neat. So if you are sewing with a manual machine like I did, you just have to take it step by step, bit by bit, no rushing. Don't even think of rushing, if not you are going to mess up and your band is going to look messy. You know it's on top, so you just have to take it slowly like I did. And after that guys, that is all for this trouser, the sewing tutorial. Okay, so after doing this, go ahead and iron it, give it a good press, and after ironing it, you sew in your, what is it called, is it hook and eye? You mark where your hook and eye is supposed to be and sew on it, like sew on both sides of the trouser. And that is all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this far. And if you have not still subscribed, I don't know what you are waiting for. Kindly click on the subscribe button so you'll be notified whenever we drop tutorials like this. So this is what it looked like when I was done ironing and everything, and even the inner parts came out very neat. So try and make yours look neat too. This is what the pocket is looking like, and it's very deep and very fine. And this is what the wrong side of the trouser also looks like. As you can see, it's also neat. So try and make yours look neat this way. So thank you so much. See you in the next tutorial. Bye.